What's up, man? Where are you living in Toronto still or?
Yeah, I'm in Toronto. I'm
Nice.
gone. I'm trying to go to New York in September.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, it's
Man, Toronto's taking over New York right now.
a
There's a
lot of us are
lot.
out there. Yeah,
That's sick though. You know what I mean? Like I like that more than everyone being like, let's go to Austin.
yeah.
Austin's the place. It's
I
like
don't think
New York's
that's.
still New York, you know?
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
you're still gonna get to like rub elbows with like Dave Attell and like
Hmm.
get actually good at comedy.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah.
It's still goddamn New York City, dude. And I'm not like, I'm not fighting to get on Kill Tony by any means, so I don't really give a
Yeah,
shit
yeah,
about
yeah, yeah.
Austin. That's not really my cup of tea.
It's not your scene,
No, I
no?
don't think so.
Fair, fair. When I asked you about the one word for the podcast, what came to mind for you?
Dude, this was you don't understand the stress you put on my brain and my
Everyone
heart.
handles it so differently.
Oh my God, dude. I was like, I have no idea, right? Um
I'm the only podcast with homework.
yeah. Yeah, and you made me wait an extra week. I'm like, oh my God, is it because I didn't come up with a good enough word? I'm like, you didn't even tell him the word yet. So
You
how could that be it?
knew.
I
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So I'm like, I rack my brain. I asked my girlfriend, and she's like, shit disturber.
Shit
Um,
disturber.
yeah, but
Okay.
I think that's she's been a bit of a dick. But so
Yeah.
I've toned it back, and I do recognize, like, I would say mischievous
Okay.
is the word. Yeah.
Mischievous. I like that. I gotta write these down so I don't forget. Now, beside looking like you're up to something, why mischievous?
Um, I just like causing a little bit of shit. Like
Hmm.
nothing that hurts people's feelings, but I like getting people a little bit mad, a little bit riled up, a little
It's
bit.
fun, man.
Yeah, I like it all. I like a little bit of chaos every now and then.
Yeah. I realize that I don't actually have opinions. My opinions are just whatever the opposite of what yours are.
Yeah, so you just like to argue,
I
right?
just
Yeah,
love to argue.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
love arguing because
I like
I
being.
like watching people defend their point, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you learn a lot. You learn a lot about your views and what they really think when you push back. When you just play devil's advocate for a little bit, you
Totally.
learn a lot, man. Yeah, I like it too because there's very few things that I have firm stances on. Like general morals and stuff
Yeah,
like.
sure.
Um, but otherwise, I'm like, well, I'll hear you out, man. Like, I
Yeah,
love hearing
yeah.
the opposite of what I think.
Totally.
What I think I
Totally.
believe and what I think I know. I'd love hearing someone talk about the opposite.
Yeah, and it's like it's social media is kind of interesting in a way too because you can see like how if there's somebody online that's like constantly posting about their opinion, you know what I mean? Like their online personality is their like in-person personality and they're just constantly saying their opinions and you can kind of um put those people in a box pretty easily, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like this is what a right winger looks like. This is what a left winger looks like. And I think with social media, it makes it so easy to go, oh, okay, that's why you believe that because your whole algorithm is just reinforcing your opinion over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And same thing for the other side over and over and over again. And then when you go out in public and you try to you would never talk to people about this sort of
No.
shit in public,
No,
you
it's not.
know?
It's
It
not
would
real.
even be something, yeah, it's like this whole online like anger dome. It's the same way that people from outside of New York or Toronto, they're like, "Oh, those are scary places.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people getting killed and whatever." And I'm like, "Well, you believe that because that's all you see on the news about that one place."
Yeah.
So just naturally, like the human brain can't like, oh, it almost won't like think two steps further and go, ah, but maybe that's just something bad that came on the news. It just goes, something bad happened here, so that place is bad.
Yeah. And also, you're generally scared of what's unfamiliar to you, right? Like
Totally.
if it's you everyone makes their even comedy. I mean, we do it the same. Like we're in a comedy bubble,
Right.
and we're different from regular people. But you still think fucked up because
You
you're
hear
in this
that,
bubble.
regular people?
Yeah, you regular.
You fucking
God, I'm so
regular
jealous of you,
people.
regular people.
No,
God,
I'm so jealous.
you're so much happier. You guys probably own houses. God damn it.
Yeah. Generational wealth happening.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, it's like you're scared of what's unfamiliar, and like people
Yeah,
don't want to have a conversation about anything or experience anything else. Like they want to be safe. They want to. This is my life,
totally.
man. Don't fuck it up. Don't.
Yeah.
This is what I think. Don't mess that up, right?
Totally. I've never like it's very rare, but it's funny when I'll love seeing like an Instagram comment that's like clearly rage bait
Hmm.
and you click on the replies and it's like you see like 109 replies and you're like, "Oh my God. These are people
Crazy.
going back and forth all day while they're at work, while they're
Hmm.
picking up their kids, they're doing regular stuff and they're in this argument on their phone."
Yeah,
And a couple times I've gone through this thread of argument where they argued for so long that they eventually like came to an understanding. And you're like, wow, that's beautiful. And
that's
then people,
amazing. Yeah.
but then other people are watching this and also like reading it like me. They're jumping in going, hey guys, this is the internet. No, like we don't agree with each other.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
fucking call them whatever.
Yeah,
Call them
yeah.
a loser. Like
Start the
get in
fucking
there.
fires
Yeah,
again, man.
yeah,
What are we
yeah,
doing
yeah.
here? Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just a constant need for, yeah, starting fires.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, that's like that's sometimes that's people's entertainment. And that's
Yeah.
also like if you work in like a cubicle all day, you're not really like how do you make friends? How do you get social
Yeah.
interaction? How do you I don't know. It's this weird thing where like I said, like you that's your bubble, man. And you're like, well, all these like-minded people are arguing this way, so I'm gonna hop in and because these are my friends, my allies, I'm gonna
Right.
argue this, right? You're like, all right, well, nothing's gonna ever get solved by doing this, but if you feel good about it, keep doing it.
Yeah. I had, do you know him, G Van Gill?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I had him on the podcast, the episode before this one. And we were talking about like the hypocrisy a lot of the times of these two different, like, big, there's many ideologies, but the two big ones, the left and the right, like people, the only way that they can start having like actual meaningful conversations about tough ideas is by calling out the bullshit in their own party.
Hmm.
Both of them. Like if the people that exist in both of these parties notice that like they're being taken advantage of or being used as sort of a shield, like real racists using like, oh, I'm just a conservative. It's like, no, that's not
Yeah.
what conservatism typically means. It's like, it's about like budgeting and
Yeah,
all
yeah.
that sort of shit.
Fiscally
Cutting,
responsible. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
cutting, social spending and,
yeah.
but they're like, no, 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 we're the same. And it's like, no. And then on the other side, you have people like Kevin Spacey was the example that I used where he like gets caught like molesting or whatever it was, like a 14-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, that's because I'm gay.
Yeah.
Like,
That's
I
not
couldn't
what
help
gay is.
myself. You're like, no, you have this all wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just a
Yeah.
liberal. Is that
Yeah.
okay? Like,
No,
what?
dude. No.
Yeah,
Well, it's this
yeah.
weird thing where you got to belong to a team, right? And that's
Yeah.
like, well, like some of your team's fucked up, man. Like,
Yeah, for
maybe you don't
real.
want to belong to that team. Maybe you want
Yeah.
some your team's like values, but I wouldn't root for I'm not cheering on
Yeah.
the whole fucking team. There's psychos on both sides.
I want some of my team members to get eliminated.
Yeah. Well, I also like that's what I like about comedies because you I don't know, to me anyhow, you kind of should you're supposed to make fun of both sides. There's
Yeah.
nonsense on both sides. Like I like, you know, being in the middle and not
Yeah.
politically, but being in the middle, looking
Oh, yeah,
right
yeah,
and
yeah.
left and be like, I should make fun of everybody. This is insane.
Yeah, that's the best like Whitney Cummings when she did the New Year's Eve like whatever. Did you see that video?
No, I don't
She
think so.
hosted or she like popped in to host like some New Year's Eve thing with like Andy Cohen from NBC. And so she's on like a liberal network and she just starts going in on like Joe Biden, making like all these Joe Biden jokes. And people were like, why didn't you say anything about Trump? She's like, because that would have been the easy thing to do. I'm
Hmm.
on a network where all they do every day is say how dumb this guy is and how whatever he is.
Yeah.
For me to do that, that would be like hack. And I'm like, I love looking at things through that lens of like, it's exactly what we were saying about being mischievous. you whatever you believe, I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah, I'm gonna cause some shit,
Just
man.
to
Yeah,
watch you
yeah,
fucking squirm or like laugh at yourself or whatever it is, because like there's nothing worse than someone who takes himself too seriously.
for sure.
They're
Yeah,
like
especially in
this,
this line of work. Like, what are we doing, man? You should be able
yeah,
to
yeah,
laugh at
yeah,
the shit.
yeah, yeah, totally. Yeah, that's why I try to not make this podcast too like let's be meta about the process of comedy.
Yeah,
I mean, if I'm talking to a comedy nerd and they want to talk about that sort of stuff, that's what I'm going to dive into. It's kind of
for sure.
whatever, whatever the
Yeah.
guest is.
Hmm.
Did you see what T.I. recently said? You know, he was like doing
Yeah,
stand-up
there ain't
comedy.
no paper oh, he's not wrong, man.
You're like, no shit. I'm like,
Yeah,
someone needs to tell him, someone needs to grab him by the collar and say, T.I., you are an open micer
yeah,
in this
yeah.
scene. Of
I'll
course, there's no paper.
tell him to sign up for Sound Exchange. Don't worry, Ti, we'll get you hooked up, buddy. We'll get
Yeah,
you
yeah,
a
yeah,
Sirius XM radio plays, buddy.
yeah. His hot 5 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's like, bro, just you're killing it at music, like
yeah,
killing it, you know? Do host a comedy show
yeah,
as
yeah.
T.I. the rapper. You know what I mean? And then there's not as much pressure on like needing to be getting paid only by comedy or like
Well, I
funny
really,
by
really
comedy.
hope he didn't. He's not expecting to make rap money in comedy. Like,
Oh my God,
I
yeah.
really hope. I don't think he is. I think he really likes doing comedy. I think
Yeah,
he
yeah, yeah.
thinks it's fun. I mean, it's fucking awesome, especially
Yeah.
when you're stupid rich already. Like, you don't have to worry about making
Oh
money.
my
Like,
God,
you
yeah.
have no stress. You just go, and you're fucking Ti. Like,
Yeah. You
you
have just
know.
the ability to walk into any room and
Hmm.
most of the room, like a good 80% of the room, is going to recognize you, respect
Yeah,
your authority, and be like, yeah, get on the stage.
yeah. We'll hear you out for a little bit, buddy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, we'll let you run a hot 4 minutes or something,
yeah. And if two of those are fucking good, you're like, man, that's a good
Yeah,
set for
yeah,
Ti.
yeah. Most people are just like, wow, that was T.I. I
Yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah.
believe that.
Hmm.
They didn't hear a word he said. It was just the only thing going through the audience's head is like, I wonder how I could get a photo with him
Yeah,
once he
yeah.
gets off
Or you're just
stage.
humming his songs in your head. Rubber Band Man's just playing in your head. You're like, I don't know what he said, man, but that was
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. You're like, yeah, whatever, man.
Yeah, look how fucking shiny his chain is. Why would you wear that, Ti?
One question I always like do, just joking about like getting meta about comedy, but I'm always interested in like the first time someone does comedy. Like when was the first time that you did comedy? What was that like experience like? Because for a lot of people, they either just they're like blasé about it. They're like, oh, I saw that there was a class. I took the class. There was a show. We did the show. It was good. It was fun. I kept doing it. And then other people were like, there could be no family members around, no one that could see me. Like I had to go under a pseudonym. Like my palms were sweaty. Like,
Yeah,
so what
yeah.
was it like for you?
I had to do it. I never wanted to do stand-up comedy. Like, I liked stand-up comedy. I didn't understand like, as a teenager, that was a job. Like, you know what I mean? And my brain just
Mm,
couldn't process it. I'm like, this is a job. I just remember, watching like Kings of Comedy, Chappelle, and Steve Martin. I see behind you there.
yeah.
Um, and I always thought it was sick. And I was going to be an actor. Like, 100% was going to go to theater school. And then I got into the Humber program. And in the Humber program, they make you do, I think it was like 3 minutes or something a month of stand-up comedy at Yuck
Damn.
Yucks. And I did it, and I was like, holy shit, I want to do this forever. This is like my own little play, and I'm the only actor in it, and this is the best. And yeah, I fell in love like my first set, man, and didn't haven't stopped doing it since.
Wow. Yeah, yeah. That's a fun way to also like get into it is by accident.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Like, hey,
yeah,
you gotta try this thing, and you're like, yeah, sure, why not?
yeah, yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah,
like, I
man.
like performing, so
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
all right,
And
let's
you've gotten to act and things too, so it's like you're able
yeah.
to like still keep true to that. It's the nice thing about like stand up is that acting career runs like parallel
Hmm.
to the stand up career.
For
If
sure,
the
yeah,
stand up career goes huge, the acting career pretty much right there, you
yeah.
know?
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if it works as much vice versa. I don't know
Mm.
any like big actors that
No, because like
became
the writing is so important.
it's the work, honestly, is what
Yeah.
separates the two of them, right? It's and the
Hmm.
writing too, like the fact that it's personal, it's about you.
Yeah,
There's something where I feel like the longer you put in that work and do stand up, the more you kind of know yourself better because
for sure.
even if you're not writing like personal stories or personal jokes, you're still kind of dealing with your brain in that whole process of like, okay, let me take something I saw and make that funny. And it makes
Yeah,
you understand like how you process different things.
absolutely. Yeah. Oh yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's your brain and your heart, right? Like working together, regardless of what kind of comedy you do. You know, you could be doing one liners about nonsense, but you still had to think of that, feel that,
Yeah.
figure out why it would be funny to strangers, right? Like and to get that out of your brain onto a stage is that's a different kind of thing than reading someone like like a scriptwriter had already done that,
Yeah.
and now you as an actor are just processing these lines that have already been written, right? Where as a stand-up, you're kind of doing both of those things.
Yeah.
So that's why I think it's easier to go from stand-up into acting than acting into stand-up.
Yeah. 100%. Not so much singing into stand up either, but
Yeah, well, we'll see. I'm rooting for you, Ti, buddy.
I'm such a hater. No, I hope he does well. I hope anyone that tries stand up does well. It's such a fun fucking thing to do.
Yeah,
And it's
man.
like it's you really get over rejection, I think, because stand up is the potential of real-time rejection at any moment.
Hmm.
At any moment you could say something and a group of people react negatively to you.
Yeah,
They groan or they boo or they stay silent, which is almost sometimes worse.
yeah,
Because you're like, I know what to do with a boo or like a heckle. I can handle that, but like no reaction.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah.
that's the one where you're like, what the fuck? How do I pull
Yeah.
myself out of
You're like, I
that?
can't breathe.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sucks the air out of the room.
But it's honestly, it's like it sounds crazy, but I'm like stand-up comedy is like some of the realest interactions I've had with human beings in my entire life. Like the most genuine, realest things have happened because of
Yeah.
stand-up comedy, doing stand-up comedy. It's
And people say things too, like I said this on another podcast, but people say things which they normally wouldn't say in any other environment because
yeah.
you're talking to them with a microphone.
Yeah. Oh
You're
yeah.
just amplifying, like I was saying, like 50% of crowd work is just repeating what the person said
Hmm. Yeah.
because that will get a laugh.
Oh
It's like,
yeah.
where'd you
Oh,
guy meet? Tinder, Tinder.
mhm.
And then everyone, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of it is that you just give someone enough rope and they hang themselves with it, right? Like that's
true.
all.
Yeah.
That's all it
Yeah.
is. Like I love crowd work.
Yeah.
It's very weird to see that that's what online comedy is now. It's just
It's
all.
because it's like it's disposable.
Yeah,
It's not
for
gonna
sure.
burn any
Yeah, yeah. You
it's not
still
gonna
got
burn
your
any
hour. Yeah.
content, but at the same time, I'm sort of like I feel like we're past that point
Hmm.
where if you're a fan, like there's legit fans of comedy where they have no interest in doing comedy, they have a job that they love, and they go to comedy shows. Like
Hmm.
that is a type of person, right?
Yeah.
And I think they are well aware that like stand-ups work on their jokes many, many times. It's not like always organically off the top of your head.
Right.
So you would think that like just hey, here's a good clip of me doing a bit that's like probably going to end up on my hour. I feel like
Yeah,
that's going to become more and more acceptable. And you even reposting the bit with maybe a new tag that you added to it is going to almost add to the lore of it. So
for
when it's
sure.
finally on the special, somebody can go, hey, I remember I saw that when it was just a minute long, and now it's a 10-minute bit on this
Yeah,
special.
yeah. You
You
see the
know, like,
growth, you see the work. Like that's
yeah,
for sure. I mean, I'm sure there's comedy fans right now that love that. Like, I know from my own experience, like when I put out my album, like where people are like, holy shit, man, like that joke you did. And like I remember when it was nonsense. Like
yeah.
I remember when it was bombing, right? Like
Yeah, yeah,
when it was
yeah.
30 seconds of you
That's the
just
best.
scrambling. Like, yeah. It's cool. It's such a um I mean, I'm such a nerd for comedy, like but talking about comedy, and like that's my favorite thing is chatting up at the back of a show, and you're like, that was a thing, man. You said something
Yeah.
there. That's gonna be a thing. Work on
Yeah,
it. And then they
yeah.
come back and it's like 6 minutes. You're like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah, yeah. When you can just unpack something where it just keeps, it's an idea that just keeps unfolding into like funnier and funnier angles.
Hmm.
Like there, I had a bit that I started like closing with for last. I stopped doing it because I'm like, okay, that when you do a bit enough where you're like, all right, that's done. Like
It works. Yeah, we're
it
good.
works.
Yeah,
Put it aside. I had a bit like that where it just came out like when I was thinking of it, it just came in my head fully formed.
yeah,
Like it was like, oh, that's a clear like premise setup, and then here's the punchline. It's like, and it's a longer bit. Like it's not like a shorter bit, but rarely does that happen to me. It's
yeah.
always either these words together are funny, work backwards from that,
Hmm.
or here's a funny concept of an idea, even like not
Yeah.
even really like a joke. What when you have something like that where it's just the premise of it, do you take that premise on stage and try to just talk it out, or are you the type to write out many different versions of how that could end and then just try all those out? Like, are you more prepare first at home, or do you work out on stage?
I work out on stage 95% of the time. Everything has been worked out on stage, just doing sets and sets and sets and sets. And like, I'll always like, if I'm a headline, especially if I'm headlining, I'll block off, you know, 10-15 minutes where I can fuck around and I know I can, I'll get them back. Everyone's going to get their money's worth, but I'm
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
use this time to,
Uh-huh.
first build up some trust, get them to like me, and then try some new things, like, some new ideas that I'm working on, see if there's anything there, and then build it up like that, go to smaller shows, fucking tank a couple sets, and like just figure it out, man. Like, I don't know,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
something about that weird pressure that makes your
Yeah.
brain think different. For me, anyhow. Like, I that weird panic where you're like, I don't know, this joke doesn't have an ending.
Yeah,
This is just me
yeah.
saying something that I think is funny. I don't even know if anyone else thinks this is funny.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's like that on the spot scramble where your brain does something nuts, and you might say something, you're like, oh my God, I got it. I got something. And
Yeah.
then build from that. Yeah, I'm almost always working out on stage. Yeah.
And I guess too, like you can only that's what I try to do is work out on stage, but there's that like obsession for me where I really want to take it in fully finished,
Yeah,
and try it like that.
for sure.
But because it's that panic, right? It's that like, oh, what if I can't think of anything? And then it
Hmm.
just trails off. And then I go, okay, yeah, on to the next thing, I guess.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
but the funny thing is, uh, nobody should really be scared of that because sometimes even that can get a laugh.
Of course.
If you're like, oh, this is a part of my notebook that said like, thunderous applause, like maybe I
Hmm.
need to go back and revisit that. Kind of breaking down that fourth wall here and there of just like, yeah, here's me doing these bits, doing this material, but like calling yourself out on stuff is a
Yeah.
quick and easy way to save yourself in those moments.
Oh, for sure. It's charming too, right? Like,
Uh,
people like that. They know you're just somebody performing, speaking to a microphone. Like,
right, yeah.
like I don't know. If you're charming enough, you can get away with a lot of nonsense. Like, a lot of stuff like that. We're like, well, that didn't work. All right, let's hopefully you like this
Yeah.
one. Like,
Yeah. Do
yeah,
you now like the one thing that I'm like sort of struggling with right now is putting together I have all these jokes from all these years and I'm like what is the proper way to put together an hour? And working it out, I figured that out through producing independent shows and like, getting different spaces to give you the time to actually practice that and put that into practice. But like, trying it a new 5 minutes at a mic, whatever, that's an easy thing to do. And like, even
mhm,
if it's not fully finished, like you said, trying it out and just like talking it out. But an hour is this like hopefully for some people, like a theme. Like you
yeah,
want to see how it feels saying the things back to back to back to back.
hmm,
What was like the time when do you remember like prepping for the first time that you were going to do an hour and like
hmm.
what you did and maybe writing wise, rehearsal wise, did you? How did that go for you?
Um, it's so everything I'm like I write it's kind of it's very like theater play, you know what I mean? Like a playwright
Hmm.
kind of thing. Like so
Yeah, yeah.
there's ups and downs and stuff, and like I have like sections. Like I'm talking about dating or something, and then all those jokes would go in, and I would go into like having a girlfriend, and it like kind of you kind of naturally feel it almost like when you're writing these jokes, and then you have the odd one. Like now I have a joke about like Uber drivers. I'm like, where the hell do I put that in like an hour? And
Right.
then
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah.
those things are the hardest thing, but most of it, because you start off middling. So I always looked at it like I'm doing 20 minutes. So I know how I'm going to open, right? I know what my opener is. I know my first like 3, 4 minutes, and I know what my closing bit's going to be. So let's connect those somehow. You know what I mean? Let's
Hmm. Hmm.
build, come back down, then
Right.
build back up there. So
Oh,
it's,
that's a good thing. I didn't even think of it that way. You know how you want to start it and you know how you want to end it. So build the story in between.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just
What makes
connect it like
sense
that.
to,
Yeah,
yeah,
and
yeah.
it's an hour, right? So
Right.
if you're doing an hour, you're not firing off, you're like killing people. It's impossible to
Yeah,
like
yeah.
gut laugh for an hour. So it's really you're building a show. You want it to peak, you want it to
Yeah.
come down, then you want it to peak. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
want to
yeah,
build up,
totally.
hit a high, bring it back down, to slowly build it back up, and then hit a higher high and get the fuck off stage.
Right, right, right. And especially too
So
if it's like a longer story, let's say that you're
mhm,
filling time with like maybe bits in between that are funny sides, whatever. I feel
mhm,
like it's gotta really hit at the end. If you're
mhm,
spending 3.5 minutes or 4 minutes setting up a story or
mhm.
telling a story, that hit has to be like huge
It's got to be big,
to
yeah.
carry you through the next little bit
Mhm.
to go on from there.
Well, it's just got to you have to the audience has to feel that payoff for listening to
Right.
you explain some shit for 3 minutes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And especially if they're with you, and you hit them with this big pop after 4 minutes of telling a story, then you got them, man. They're with you.
Yeah.
They'll settle back down and let you build up again, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And the anticipation just goes higher and higher and higher. So I just look at it like that. I'm like, it's like a roller coaster, man. We're going up, and
Yeah.
we're gonna come down, man. It's gonna be worth it, and I want to go back up again.
It was crazy. I saw do you know Ron James?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I know
saw
him.
him do a theater show in Ottawa. No opener.
What do you do?
Comes
7 hours or something crazy?
out. He did 2 hours
Yeah.
with no break. And it was just like it was just like laughs and laughs and laughs. Like there probably was maybe like a minute of him where it was like quiet and listening to like what he was
Mm-hmm.
saying to like set him up for other stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
just unreal. And like I asked him, I had him on the podcast too, and I asked him like, how he prepares for like a 2 hour show
Yeah.
and all these like crazy alliterative runs that are like you'd have to really memorize that. And he's like, I write everything, he writes everything out
Mm-hmm.
like top to bottom, the whole show, spreads them all out on sheets in
Mm-hmm.
like the dressing room, whatever, and he just goes through the whole thing just over and over and over again, memorizing that. And then I guess, you do enough shows, it starts to just become like muscle memory at that
Well,
point.
that almost that's a theater show. Well,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
doing a giant. He's doing a legit theater show, right? The
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that's a different thing than you're doing at a comedy club.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That it's a
Yeah,
different.
yeah.
All those people paid money. All those people know who the hell Ron James is.
Right.
They came to see that dude do his damn thing for 2 hours, right? So he gives
Yeah.
them a show, like a polished show. He's probably in a suit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, totally.
yeah, of course,
Yeah,
right? Like, but
yeah,
that's a
yeah.
different thing than a headline set at a comedy club.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
An hour or 45 minute set at a comedy club.
It's different, yeah. When
Yeah,
people
yeah.
don't know who you are, especially, they don't give a shit about their like
Yeah,
better
yeah,
make
yeah,
us laugh,
totally.
dude. Yeah.
You're the guy headlining tonight. All
Yeah,
right,
man.
let's
I
go.
paid for parking. I got a babysitter.
Yeah,
You better be
yeah.
funny, man. These
Do you
tickets are 40
find
bucks.
do you find in the like in the club environment of doing an hour at like that, do you want to interact with them more to just create that? Because that's to me like the best part about a club is like they're right there.
Mhm.
Like it's so easy to just like have that moment with the crowd. And I think if you're doing a bit of a longer set, like you almost like owe it to the room in a way to like bring them in, like point something out that happened or is happening.
Mhm.
But what do you think about that?
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, I like. I mean, theaters are a different thing. They're fun in their own way, but it is way more a show, right? Like it's just these are my jokes. Here are my jokes. At a club, you're like, well, we're all here, man. We're all just scumbags in a basement. Like now we
Yeah,
can,
yeah, yeah,
we're all the same here, right? Like I know I'm on stage with a microphone, but I'm like, I'm here, right? I can touch your face right now. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I love it, man. I love talking to people. I love pointing shit out. I love picking up people's fucking drinks and switching them around. I mean, crazy stuff, man. Like it's late shows
Being
are very fun.
mischievous.
Yes, very mischievous. Yes, 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 yes.
There's one question that I always ask all my guests too, and essentially the question is, what advice would you give to your younger self? But I think it's too vague. So I want you to think of you at 15 years old,
Mhm,
who you were at 15, what you're
mhm.
doing, and the phone rings and it's you now on the other end. You can give your younger self a piece of advice. It's not going to impact your life whatsoever. What would
It
you
won't
say?
impact my life right now.
No. So if you tell your younger self something, different universe, it's not going to change anything that's going on in your life.
It would be first of all, the beard's never coming. You're never getting the beard, buddy. It's not gonna happen. Uh,
You do
Stop hoping
well.
for
Yeah,
it.
goatee is
Yes,
great.
stop shaving bare skin. It's not going to grow on the side. It is what it is. You'll get a goatee when you're almost 40, and that's all you're
Yeah.
going to get. But also tell them, uh, do the thing, man. Believe in yourself. Like don't care what people think so much. Don't. It doesn't matter if everyone likes you.
Yeah.
It's okay if some people don't like you. Your intentions are good. Do what you want to do, and don't be scared of what people are going to think. Go do the thing, man.
That's huge, man. Like, especially the not caring what people think. I think that's so easy to fall into.
Mhm.
And it honestly leads to like jealousy a lot of the time too, because then you start comparing yourself to other people and then judging your own actions based on what you think that they might say,
Mhm.
probably, maybe, if it's all like hypotheticals in your head.
Yeah,
That's just like not good.
yeah, it's literally you're just not being true to who you are. You're trying to
Yeah.
please other people for what? You don't even know what they like.
Yeah.
Like what are you doing? Like it took me a long time um to learn that, to get over that, like to not people please everybody and like just do what
Say
you
no.
yeah, say no.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just be like, nah, man, I can't. I love to like when I'll reach out to some people. I do crazy like all the time, like just send people DMs like, hey, do you want to be on my podcast?
Mhm.
Because I'm like, I don't fucking know. Maybe they will
Yeah,
respond.
good for
And
good for you, man. Yeah.
there's been a couple people that are like, nah, I'm good.
Mhm.
I'm like, cool of you to respond.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
yeah.
like,
But like
you know what I
that's the
mean? But you just
worst.
take that as like, but like anyone, like someone else would take that as like, it's over. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's the end of the world because this person doesn't want to be on the show.
Mhm.
It's like, no, 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 no. The show goes on.
Yeah, but also you don't know why they said no, right? Like
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
no idea. Maybe I don't
Yeah.
know.
And
They hate
nobody's
their
gonna
face or some shit.
explain
Who
it.
knows?
Yeah. I can't. I can't stand Johnny Rogers' face. There's no way I could look at
No,
it for
I meant
hours.
their face, not
Oh,
your face.
okay. Um, uh, Another question I have is how mad will you be if after you immigrate to New York, Trump just annexes Canada and you could have saved all that?
I'll be furious. Dude, I'd be,
I would be
you know how much
furious.
thousands of dollars that I would be
We
so
just all
mad, dude.
become Americans. You're like, what the fuck?
Why didn't I just wait? This is I waited long enough. Dude? I'd be so mad. Why did you say that to me, Johnny? Don't even put that in the universe, man.
These are real things we need to think about.
I
Everyone
know.
thinks it can't happen. And I was like, I don't know.
All it could happen.
It can very easily become like some weird, like tit for tat. Like they say that they're going to do that. And then Canada goes, Fine then. We'll shut off your power.
Yeah,
That was her response.
I know.
That's not
Yeah,
good. That's not good like
no,
business.
no.
Nobody does business like that. If
Well, you know
someone
what? You don't
says
want to fight with them. That's not a
no,
good fight. We're not winning that fight.
like you imagine you go into the car dealership and you're like, I want 25% off of this car. And they're like, no, we're not doing that. And you're like, fine, I'm gonna come back here and shut off your lights.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna start damaging cars.
I'm
It's like
taking the wheels off of all the vehicles.
why are you starting a war with America? It
No,
blows
no,
my
it's not.
mind.
It's not a war we're gonna win. So
We're not gonna win. We're not, and if they take
no.
Greenland, we're especially not gonna because
Yeah,
we're
we're.
then surrounded on three sides,
Hmm.
and no one's going to none of it. No one's moving upward to
No,
Yellowknife or none of it, or no,
no,
it's not
not
happening.
definitely not me from Scarborough, Ontario, buddy. I am not
Yeah,
surviving. I'm cold right now. I'm in a house.
you're like I have a nice big sweater on.
Yeah,
I should be fine.
yeah, but I'm not.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, but like that fucking the way that I could see that happening is if he doesn't back off of these tariffs and the economy just crashes in Canada.
Hmm.
Like just hits like 50 cents to their dollar.
Yeah,
Like we're done. Like this I think Kingston, Ontario just declared
I
a
saw
state of
that. Yeah,
emergency because like one in three people are using a food bank or like
yeah.
they're food insecure.
Hmm.
Well, like something's gonna happen.
Oh yeah, man.
I
Like,
don't know, like that's crazy.
well, it's like when people are like, that could never happen. I'm like, everyone said that Trump would never win. I'm like, he's won twice. What are we talking about? Anything is possible, man. Like, I don't know, dude. I'm counting on the aliens coming.
Yeah.
I think
I'm
that's
counting
it, dude.
on Elon finally landing on Mars and then he finds aliens there and then it's over.
Yeah,
It's just
that
game
that'll
over.
unite the Earth, buddy. When the aliens
Yeah,
come start
yeah, yeah.
attacking us,
Yeah, we see live footage of just aliens just murking Elon Musk on
just
Mars.
biting Elon's head
We're all
off.
like, what the fuck? That'll be the end of it right there.
Hmm. It's all right,
Um,
buddy. We might be able to say we lived till the end of human civilization.
it certainly
Civilization.
feels
It's
like
pretty
it,
sick,
right?
though. Yeah,
Like
it's
we're
pretty
getting all
cool.
these cool technological advances,
Hmm.
comedy is popular, like what
Yeah.
the fuck is going on? You
Oh yeah.
know? And
Oh
then it
yeah.
just pow,
Comedy's always popular in horrible times. So
always. It's my
let's keep
favorite.
fucking up this earth, man, so we can
Did you
make
ever
some money.
see Doug Stanhope's comedy special? I think it's called No Refunds. It was shot in like New York a long time ago.
I might have seen it. Yeah.
There's like not a sketch, but like he films like an intro
Hmm.
and it's all black and white and he's like, people ask me, Doug, why haven't you done comedy in Hawaii? He's like, because everyone is already happy there.
Yeah.
He's like, they're already smiling. It's nice weather. They don't need it. He goes, that's why I'm here in New York where everything is terrible. People
Yeah.
need comedy here.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's rats everywhere. Like people need this way more here than they do in Hawaii.
It's
It's just,
true.
he's so right. Yeah, he's
Hmm.
so right. And then he proceeds to smoke a cigarette on stage.
Yeah. As he does. The man. Yeah. And probably a hilarious suit as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Some zany suit that he
Yeah.
picked up at the thrift store on his
Yeah.
way there.
Yeah. Yeah. Somewhere in Arizona, I found a thrift store, bought a suit.
Yeah.
Sleeves are too long. That guy's great.
That's what I love about comedy though, is like there's people just like that that are you could be on a show with one day.
Hmm.
Like how insane is that? Like comedy is such a great equalizer in that sense of everybody has well, most comedians have gone through the same like grind of open mics, producing their own shows, trying to get feature work and then hosting at clubs and then moving on to like theaters and touring and putting out albums. We all share those same like goals and aspirations.
Yeah.
It's almost, it's I heard this thing and it bummed me out because I was like, God damn. That there was this lady that was like, the reason why it's so hard to make friends as an adult is because you're no longer when you were a kid, it was super easy because you were sharing all of the same goals. So
Hmm.
like you were hitting all the same milestones of like we're in this grade and now we're in this grade and now we're in this grade. And then she was like, and you have the proximity thing. You're all showing up to the same school every single day, day after day after day. So naturally, it's really, really easy to be friends with these people. But then when you become an adult, you go to work every day, and that's like maybe your proximity, but you're around people that are at totally different levels.
Hmm.
But when you do comedy, you're showing up to a comedy club and you're running into people that are all just trying to do the same thing that you're doing.
Hmm.
And it's all something that they're passionate about.
Yeah.
So that, oh, I think, trumps everything else. And if a comedians can be good friends, they could go years without seeing or talking to each other and pick up because they have that same shared interest. It's
You're
like, oh,
doing
we've both been hustling.
you're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I'm like I find it. That's why I'm always I try to be as nice as possible to young comics. 'Cause I'm like, you're doing the same job as I'm doing. Like we're doing the exact same. I might be doing more time for more money, but like I was right there. Like
For
I
sure.
was doing the same thing for no money and less time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we're doing it's the same job. You're
yeah.
still getting up there in front of strangers and telling something that you thought of out loud and hoping people laugh. Like it's the exact same thing, no matter what level you're at. It's the same goddamn thing, and it's like, yeah, man. If you like comedy, you're all right with me. Like, we can be friends. Like,
Yeah,
if
we
you
can
like
hang.
telling jokes, man, like, or you
Yeah,
like
yeah.
listening to jokes, we can be friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Even if you're just a fan.
Yeah,
Uh,
hell yeah.
you got anything to promote or something that you want people to go check out? I'm just gonna share your Instagram here. It's at Nick Reynoldson on Instagram. The link is in the description and nickreynoldson.com for like upcoming shows that you'll have.
Yeah. All my big shows are on my um will be on my website and my Instagram. I'm just popping around the city, man. I'm trying to get my new album together, so
Nice.
I'll be at the Corner Comedy Club a bunch. I'm doing Nubian show for the first time in a long time, which I'm very excited about.
Cool.
Um, coming up, and then just around. I'll be in Milton. I'm in Peterborough.
The
The
whole hot
classic.
Ontario
Yeah,
tour.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I mean, Oshawa.
They'll all be in Oshawa.
I
Yeah,
mean,
they're all.
Napanee,
Yeah, they're all
Napanee,
coming.
Paris, Ontario.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Oh, Paris,
Uh,
Ontario. I've been in Forest, Ontario twice this year, so
damn, all
can't
right.
wait. Yeah, yeah.
Next,
Get
Las
to.
Vegas, Ontario.
Oh yeah.
I bet there is one out
I'm
there.
sure there is, man.
Oh, I was gonna say too, for people listening, if you want to hear the episode I did with Joe DeCito, he's the owner of the Corner Comedy Club. So go back, find that episode, and you can learn all about how the Corner came to be.
Best
But
comedy club in Toronto.
fucking awesome comedy club. I haven't been to the new location yet, but the
Check
first
it out.
one,
It's crazy.
unbelievable.
The new one is it's so good, man.
Yeah, back to
Yeah.
back with Yuck Yucks.
Yeah. Oh, it's hilarious. That alleyway is the
Classic
greatest, man.
Corner.
Yeah. The alleyway is crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No way. The alleyway hang is going to be its own show on Bell Fibe or something.
100%. Yeah. It's
That
wild
would
back
do
there.
numbers.
Hmm.
Man, thanks so much for making time to come on the show. And I'm
Dude, thanks
sorry
for
we had
having me. It
to
was my
push
pleasure,
it
man.
and reschedule, but
No
yeah, I'm
worries.
happy we got a chance to hang and shoot the shit.
Absolutely, buddy. My pleasure. Thank you for having me, dude. I had a great
Yeah.
time.
Hope you have a good rest of your night. I'll
You
send
too,
you the link
brother.
when it's up.
Please do, man.
Peace,
See you
bro.
later, buddy. Stay well.
You too. You've been listening to The Johnny Rogers Show. New episodes air every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.